All right, everyone. So I'm coming on a little bit early today, actually a lot bit early, because Tucker Carlson has lit the internet up on fire, and it comes on a day where Candace Owens had some interesting things to talk about on her podcast. Today is March 3rd, 2026, 3/3/2026. Interesting date if you're one that follows those kind of numbers. But yeah, so Tucker is out there saying that the Gulf states that were attacked yesterday and the day before were not attacked by Iran, but were attacked by Israel, by the MOSSAD. And that makes perfect sense. Let's see what Tucker had to say.
It hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. And they've succeeded. And the third thing you would have to do if you wanted true control over the region is get the US out of the Middle East. And this war is designed to do it because the Israelis know that there is no appetite whatsoever for casualties, and that this would cause a political crisis in the United States, and that it would most critically convince our Arab allies that the United States is a bad ally. A Saudi Aramco facility went up last night. The Iranians said they didn't do it. Why would they say they didn't do it? Well, possible Israel did it. Why wouldn't they? Because if you think about it, scaring our other allies in the region, letting them know that they can get attacked and the U.S. will not defend you. You put up with all this crap for decades because you got American troops on your soil and your population doesn't like it, but you do it anyway because you've been told if there was ever a problem, the U.S. will come rescue you. Well, guess what we just learned? The U.S. is not coming to rescue you. It hasn't been reported, but it's a fact.
All right. So the most important part of that is it hasn't been reported, but it's a fact. And I'm going to say that I looked a lot before coming on here, and that's what I'm saying, that it has been reported, but it has not been reported. But Tucker is all over the internet, all over the Middle East news channels talking about this. How can Tucker do this? Tucker Carlson is a journalist and has been a long-time journalist, and he knows that before he reports something, he has to have a source. The source that Tucker has is the current President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. He is very close with the Trump administration, and as the uncomfortable interview went with the ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, well, the frustration on Huckabee's face showed greatly because he mentioned to Tucker that Tucker talks to the president a lot, and made it sound like Tucker talked to the president a lot more than Mike Huckabee. That is significant. That is very, very significant. So Tucker has the ear of the administration, and his ear is also tucked into that administration. So as he said, it's not been reported, but it's a fact that Mossad agents were arrested in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and were part of the drone process of explosions hitting throughout the Gulf states. Let me make something fundamentally clear that nobody really understands about drones. Listen, drones like these are not long-distance vehicles by a long shot. These guys can go maybe 5, sometimes 10 kilometers if they are a very sophisticated operation, a bigger drone. But these smaller drones that are hitting all these sites are not big drones at all, and we've seen some of them recorded. So they're coming from local areas. These drones are not coming from Iran hitting Qatar, hitting Saudi Arabia. No, no, no. These guys are a lot smaller and do not have that long distance capability. So that's something that we have to understand. The drones that are doing the damage are not long distance drones, high flying long distance drones. They are short trip drones. So these did not come from Iran. They did not cross the Red Sea to get over to Straits of Hormuz to get over Saudi Arabia to Qatar. So it makes perfect sense that this would be a Mossad operation, because from my experience and the last war with Iran, Iran for 12 days kicked the utter living shit out of Israel. I mean, it's 12 days of bombing that were just nonstop. And there was no other places attacked except between Israel and Iran. Now that Israel is absolutely desperate, don't misunderstand. Israel is completely desperate. No longer has the great support of the United States of America. All of its ammunition is wearing deeply, deeply thin. They are running out of ammunition, and they're also spread very thin. They've gone in further into Lebanon, which by all means is a military mistake. I don't know what's happening on the border of Lebanon and Israel, because it's not making the news, but there's got to be a lot of activity there, because Israel is putting a lot of resources there and now advancing further into Lebanon, which is just a strategic mistake by any general's assessment. So Israel, a small, tiny country the size of New Jersey with 9 million people, has a 7-front war opened up. And if it comes out that Israel was involved in all of these other attacks on different nations, including the United States of America, that's going to change a lot of things. And notice also the language that everybody's been using with talking about Iran, especially the United States, and Mark Rubio. Mark Rubio was not naming anybody. He was very vague about who the actual enemy is. And what he had to say was that they knew, that the United States of America, that we knew that Israel was about to attack Iran, and that we needed to participate because we would be dragged into it anyways, which is ish. Anybody would say ish on that one. But to participate as Israel's friend while coordinating everything with Iran, which by my Q-trained eyes is exactly what's been happening, which is 100% what's been happening, then whenever Israel gets busted for doing what they've just done, I don't know. Trump has been really vague. Rubio was really vague too. And Trump talking about taking out the Iran Navy, and I didn't know Iran had a Navy. They've never really showed a Navy. There's word of submarines. There's just a lot of stuff, and everybody keeps attacking Tehran. And Tehran and Iran are not the same thing. Tehran is a major city in Iran, the capital city, but Iran is the size of 2 Texases or more. It's a massive, massive country. And so you've got a lot of country to target, and they have spread themselves quite well. There's no reason, if they're kicking the ever-living shit out of Israel, that Iran would want to attack any other country. They have no beef with any other country. Their beef is with Israel. And the only reason that we're tagged into it is because of our relationship with Israel, and they've dragged America into too many wars. So from a Q perspective of following this closely and always keeping drop 916, the very prescient 916, which is above my head, which says, sorry, this is 994. Where did I go with 916? Oh, I moved over here, guys. Sorry. Here is 916. As you can see up here, oops, 916. Whatever happened to this Pakistani guy who worked with the DNC, the president asked. That's Trump in his first administration. In an interview published Thursday by the New York Times, a grand jury in August returned an indictment in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia charging Alban, and I remember this stuff very well, and his wife Hina Alvi with a total of 4 counts, which included federal bank fraud and conspiracy. Alban has pled not guilty to all charges. Whatever happened to them? And the 2 servers that they broke up into 1 million pieces. Whatever happened to him? And then at the bottom, what about Awan? Is Israel involved? And this 916 drop very famously says, we are saving Israel for last. Very specific reason, not mentioned a single time. And that has always stuck with me. And Israel for the last 2 years has been in an insane path with Gaza, with Trump. Trump has banished every single Zionist from his cabinet and from his administration. None of the Zionists that used to have access to Trump have access to him anymore. And as he joined in this war, if you watch his composure and his speech, which I really didn't watch too much of it, but I just saw his composure, and I was like, oh, there's something here. And then ever since, he's been quite vague. And when all of these bombings happened, he made a point of saying, whoever did these bombings to these Gulf states are going to pay a stiff price. There is no strategic reason in the world that Iran would want to bomb anybody else but Israel. Israel, on the other hand, has every reason in the world to attack and involve all of these other Gulf states against Iran. Okay? So as the news is screaming about all of these attacks on the U.S. Embassy in Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the gas refinery being attacked, every single one of the reporters that has reported it alleged by Iran, or alleged by Iran. There's been no confirmation. Iran has said that they did not attack any of these places. They have no reason to attack them. There's only one great Satan for them, as they displayed the last week or 2 weeks ago with massive displays of Baal, of the obelisks, of Freemasonry, all the symbolism of Freemasonry. They have set their country up knowing who the enemy was, and all those symbolisms had the Israeli 6-star flag attached to them. Iran knows who the enemy is. And it's not Qatar and it's not Kuwait. So the only thing that makes sense, because yesterday, look, when Trump came out and said that we're attacking Iran, first of all, it didn't make sense to me. Second of all, it felt insincere. Absolutely, utterly insincere. And finally, it just didn't make sense. Now, over the last 72 hours in retrospect, and seeing all that has happened, now it makes sense what is actually happening, and that is Israel is on its last and desperate battle, its last desperate effort to survive. Israel, right now, from my point of view, from this channel, from my opinion, from this this vlog, is that Israel is in an existential crisis. They probably will not survive. They may, I don't know, they may survive as a state, they may not. But this provocation, attacking all of these different nations, because that's what they did. All these Gulf states they attacked, including the bases and embassy of the United States of America, are all acts of war. And if they can be tied to Israel, man, oh man, oh man, that changes so much and changes everything. So yeah, this is not the war anybody expected. And we may see the absolute end of Israel. And again, Tucker said it cleanly and clearly. This has not been reported, but it is factually true. And it passes every sniff test in the world. Israel tried to get all of these other nations involved in the war against Iran and ultimately attack Iran. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Not one nation has lifted a finger against Iran except Israel. And I doubt the United States has dropped one single bomb on Iran. I think Israel is alone in this. I don't think the United States is communicating very well with Israel at this level. And I think the United States is in coordination with Iran. Why do I say that? Because the killing of the Ayatollah was not a singular event. All of his close family, including son-in-law, were all killed in this compound. Man, it doesn't work like that. Man, it does not work like that. First of all, this Ayatollah would be deeply underground for a long time, rarely if ever above ground and exposed. And not having all his family and all the leadership, everybody that was taken out, it was just too many people in one place. Now, what does make sense is that there was coordination, and with that coordination, people were able to go in a witness protection program, and then be able to allow Iran to transform into a nation participating in economies around the world, as Syria has now become, and dropping all the sanctions. All of that leadership suddenly going away, quote unquote dying, allows for the sanctions just to be dropped a lot faster without having to prosecute anybody for anything of the past. I hope that makes sense. That's how strategic all of this is. This is, you're watching a movie. As it's been said, you are watching a movie, and that movie is playing out as we speak. So stay alert, stay tight. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. I'll be happy to respond to them. And like, share, and subscribe, because this is really a very unique perspective that you're getting, and it's an openly Q style perspective, because a lot of us within the QAnon community have been trained to see these patterns and able to spot things that just don't seem right, as the whole Iran-Iraq war, Iran-Israel war appears to be. Again, Israel is getting the snot kicked out of it. The people are exhausted already for 2 years worth of war. They've already had 12 days of intense bombing like this, and having to stay in shelters all the time, day and night. This kills the economy of Israel. And as Israel and Iran and America have said, the U.S., this could go on for a while, up to 5 weeks or longer, depending also on what comes out. If this whole MOSSAD thing comes out to be true, that is, and to be a huge understatement, a game changer, an absolute game changer. Again, with Candace Owens doing her podcast about the involvement of the Khazarian Empire with Judaism and taking it over, which was yesterday's episode. It was strong. It was strong as garlic. It's something that we've tracked within the Q community, and it's all coming out. So Q was right, and all these channels that keep trying to knock the QAnon movement, pay attention. It's all coming around. Chickens is coming home to roost. All right, special episode. I will see you all again tomorrow, and I'm guessing I'm going to stay with current events for a while, because things are definitely cooking up, and there's not a lot of people that have much of a different perspective. All right,